Yeah, I looked for something that was off the beaten path, that was not touristy, that was still beautiful, and I'm pretty sure I found it.
I'm currently traveling Japan on a 4 weeks road trip. After experiencing absolute tourism overkill in Osaka, Nara and Kyoto, I tried to hide away from the tourists in the Japanese Alps for a few days, before exploring the biggest city in the world, Tokyo. And now I'm making my way down south to Hiroshima, exploring some low-key amazing spots along the way that seem to have been forgotten about by most other tourists.
Oh my god, this is bloody perfect.
So stick with me and find out if this part of Japan should go on your travel itinerary.
It is another day in Japan and I made it to Kobe on my way all the way down to Fukuoka. I left Tokyo yesterday, took the night bus and landed in Osaka this morning and then took the train just over to Kobe, which is much smaller, so escaping the hustle and bustle of Tokyo. And I don't know much about Kobe, but I heard that it's kind of low-key pretty cool to just wander around the town. So this is what I'm doing before I go over to Himeji, maybe later this afternoon. And the first thing we're going to try out in Kobe is we're going to the American Park. Made it to American Park and Jesus, it is hot here. But luckily, the Japanese, they as always have a technical solution for this. That's these spray cannons and they're pretty awesome. So you just like stand right in front of them and just, I love this. Anyways, let's wander around American Park. So where does the name come from? American Park stands for American Park and they call it the American Park because back in the late Edo area, this park here was all part of the foreign settlement. So a lot of American merchants would come here, land in the port and then do business. And this is why they call this the American Park now. So the next thing here in the park on our list is a rather sad one because in 1995 Kobe was struck by a magnitude 6.9 earthquake and it was the second most fatal earthquake in the 21st century for Japan. At least 5,000 people, most of them Kobe residents, lost their lives. And also what happened, it destroyed big parts of the city and it destroyed even bigger parts of the Kobe port. And it goes to show how determined and hardworking Japanese people are because they reconstructed the port in about 2 years and got it to like a state-of-the-art port of the 21st century. And in order to commemorate all that, they built the Great Hanshin Earthquake Memorial here at the port, and this is where I am. And it kind of reminds me of the way that Christchurch dealt with its 2011 earthquake. Little gadget thingy on the side, this is so cool. This here is a solar-powered mobile phone charging pole. They've got all the cables, and because Japanese are nice people, they don't just destroy these things. I feel like facilities like this in other countries would have just been, I don't know, ripped apart and people would steal the cables or whatever, but here they don't. Everything is still there. My phone is just charging right now. Not fast charge, but it's charging. How cool is this?
Despite Kobe not being a particularly big city, it yet hosts one of Japan's biggest Chinatowns. And yet again, is a consequence of Kobe's port being open for foreigners and immigrants. Today, it is home to all sorts of Chinese and other Asian foods and invites tourists and locals alike to give their taste buds something to work on.
Alright, next one on our Explore Kobe list is Kintano-Lijinkin-gai, and that's a historic district here in Kobe, but the interesting part about it is that a lot of the houses here are Western style because they were all built when the Kobe port opened back in 1868, and then a lot of Western merchants and Western diplomats came over here, but then building their homes in a Western style, what they were used to. And this is why here in the area you find a lot of these old kind of Victorian style buildings in the middle of Japan, which is super cool. And apparently some of them are open as museums as well. But yeah, talking about Western style houses, check this one out. Proper villa, proper like Western style villa. This thing could also be somewhere in France or Italy.
Walking through this neighborhood really gave my brain something to work on. At times I almost forgot I was in Asia until I was reminded again by Japanese writing and street signs.
Alright, I found in the middle of Kobe the Denmark house. This is pretty cool, but also it says Austria no Ie Imperial Torte Wien, which pretty much means something Austria, but then imperial cake in Vienna. So I don't know why the Denmark house has something to do with Austria. I don't really care, it's just pretty cool to just find it here. All right, I'm on my way back down into Kobe because I'm getting really hungry. So I'm gonna look out for some lunch. Preferably, I'm gonna try some of these pork buns that everybody's talking about. There's a whole bunch of other houses that you can check out. So if you're ever here in Kobe, get one of these combo tickets. They're just a little expensive for my taste, so I didn't do it. But I think especially if you don't know what Western houses from that era look like, it is super interesting.
Before heading further south, I tried out some pork buns that I read up being the best in all of Kobe.
Another day in Japan and I'm in Himeji, and I'm here for one specific reason. I want to visit the Himeji Castle, which is right behind me. And now you might ask, why the Himeji Castle? There's the Osaka Castle, there's the Kyoto Castle, there's the Tokyo Castle, there's so many castles. But the Himeji Castle is pretty much the only major castle that is still in its original state. It hasn't been reconstructed because it has never been destroyed. So what you can see here, that has been standing here for hundreds of years. And this is why I find this so interesting. So let's go in and visit the Himeji Castle. So before you even get to the actual castle, the main keep of the castle, you have to walk a whole long way. So this is about a 20 minutes walk, but the cool thing is, while you walk, you kind of see where you're going, and this is pretty cool, eh? As a backdrop. Little pop culture fact while we're on the way into Himeji Castle, which is just about there. So this has been the filming location for a scene of a James Bond movie, You Only Live Twice, with Pierce Brosnan. That was filmed here in the Himeji Castle.
The entry fee to the castle was surprisingly cheap, for that it is the finest and somewhat most original example of its kind in Japan.
Well, we're slowly getting closer. By the way, this castle here is comprised of 83 rooms. They're not all in the main keep because there's other corresponding buildings here, and you have a very, very advanced defense system here. So some other rooms are somewhere else, but that main keep probably has 50 of them. It looks pretty big, but I guess we're about to find out when we enter.
I gotta be honest, I expected some more memorabilia in the main keep to enable tourists to gain some more insight into the life of ancient rulers. However, climbing up the different levels of the keep was still such a great and memorable experience.
Wow, check this out.
I kept wandering around the castle premise before heading further down south, this time on probably the worst single transportation device I got in all of East Asia. Seriously, that noise for 3 hours was unexpected in a country as technologically advanced as Japan. Anyways, for the latter stage, I hopped on a bus again and made it down to Hiroshima.
First of 2 days in Hiroshima, and I didn't waste no time. It actually came out to the Sandankyo Gorge, which is about a 90 minutes bus ride from Hiroshima. And what we're going to be doing is, we're going to be starting here. This is where we are. Walk through the gorge, along this beautiful river that's just down there, and apparently there's also some swimming spots along the way. So let's not waste time and go in the gorge. So there's literally no one here. There's one other couple here. I was the only one on my bus out here. And there was this kind of volunteer tour guide that just explained to me a little bit about the gorge. And he said, yeah, there's no one here. It's even kind of a holiday day in Japan. So that means I'm most likely going to be the only one on the entire trek, just having this entire gorge for myself. And I bloody love this. Oh man, wow. Well, that's fun now. I was literally saying I haven't seen a snake here in Japan yet. And I have seen one in Korea and one in Taiwan. And yes, we found ourselves a snake. Do you see this? This is so cool. It's really hard to say if that's a venomous one or not. Okay, now we know there are snakes around here, and I haven't really done my research about venomous snakes in Japan. This one, if it was venomous, it wasn't really big enough to do anything, and like if it would have bitten me in the shoe, for example, I'm pretty sure its fangs weren't big enough to even penetrate my shoe. But yeah, we don't want to get bitten by a snake here because I have no reception and I can't call anyone. So being bitten by a snake would be very less than ideal. But yeah, we're just not gonna get bitten, but it was so cool to see it. So I pretty much hung out here at this little boat place for the last, 90 minutes, just, I don't know, listening to the water, planning some of my trips for the next couple of days and stuff. But it got quite hot because the sun came out. As you can see, well, it's hard to see, but it's just there. Anyways, it got quite hot. So now I feel like I should probably get in the water. So let's change into the swimming trunks and then let's go bathing. This is so good. My hair is on fleek, of course. Let's get in that water. Oh, this is so great. And there's no one here. Like, oh my God, this is bloody perfect.
On my walk, I only met 3 other people, giving me exactly that feeling of entering an untouched area that I had missed so much ever since coming to Japan.
Okay, it's time to leave this beautiful place. That was awesome. I didn't actually do much of a hike here in this gorge because I found this place and then I just loved it. And I just hung out here the last, 3 hours pretty much, and just really enjoyed being by myself, being in peace. But now it's time to catch the bus because there's literally only one bus from now on. There's only one bus leaving back to Hiroshima. And I still got plans in Hiroshima, so we want to go back. We don't want to miss the bus, so let's kick on. A little further up from here, the road's closed anyways, so it's not really like you can do the entire hike through the gorge like you used to, but I'm pretty sure they open it up at some point again and then you can do the entire hike. But even just to this part here, and then probably if it's not a holiday day, then you can do the restaurant that's just around the corner and you can do a little boat ride and stuff. It's pretty nice. It's like a pretty nice day trip from Hiroshima, and it's so far away from all the tourists, which I think is absolutely beautiful. Like, I thought about going to some of the islands around Hiroshima. They're all super touristy, there's so many people, and I just didn't feel it. So yeah, I'll look for something that was off the beaten path, that was not touristy, that was still beautiful, and I'm pretty sure I found it. Great, I can't complain. Loving this day.
Once I finished my ride back to Hiroshima, I met up with some people from my hostel to have some okonomiyakis and a few rounds of darts together, filling up the good vibes tanks, as the following day was gonna be on the heavier side. On August 6th, 1945, at 8:15 AM local time, Hiroshima fell victim to what is arguably the most horrific invention of mankind. One single second was enough to change the face of the city forever and to erase thousands of lives. But most likely you know all this already, and if you don't, please read up on it. Walking through the Peace Memorial Park was deeply unsettling, but what truly brought tears to my eyes was the sight of so many school classes visiting this place. Seeing that this memorial is not only used to remember what happened, but also serves as a symbol of determination to educate future generations, so that what happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki may never be repeated.
I just came out of the museum and it's so moving, and I think if you do a trip to Japan, then don't miss out on Hiroshima. It might not be Tokyo, you know, but just coming here and visiting the museum, visiting the park, the memorial hall, it's a lot. It's heavy, but also I think it's really important not just to do the touristy stuff for, you know, Instagram or whatever, but do things like this. Like, you learn a lot about the city with its incredibly sad but so unique history. So yeah, it's definitely a good place to come, in that it is a very sad place to come, but I feel like it probably readjusts some minds. I'm not sure. Hopefully in the right direction, because I think you cannot leave this place without being absolutely touched. And I don't know, I'm thoughtful about what our current situation in the world is, and how quickly things got to this point last time. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all now. I'm just rambling on, but I'm really happy that I did the trip to Hiroshima, and I'm really happy that I did this part of Hiroshima. And I can only suggest you do too, if you're here somewhere in the area.
Deeply moved, but yet excited for my last leg of the Japan trip, I took a bus south again.
It is nightfall in Fukuoka. Did you ever wonder what's behind these curtains in a donkey shot in Japan? Well, let's find out. When I look around, I can't believe I'm saying this, but welcome to yet another part of Japan. Welcome to beautiful Okinawa.